Good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Good morning to those who are watching on the replay. But I'm Camari Ellis. But question for the night. Have you ever thought about how the rich really live? Like when you look on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter a little bit, everybody's balling out. They got Beamers and luxury brands and all kinds of European clothing, and they look really, really rich. Well, tonight I want to talk about what the real deal is because everybody's basically lying. And I've talked about that on a couple of things, but I wanted to go back and dig in the archive and pull out a oldie but goodie called The Millionaire Next Door. It's a great book written 20, 25 years ago. And it was something that I saw that kind of jogged my memory about it. So I wanted to talk about it tonight. As always, Wednesday is Wealthy Wednesdays, and we cover a topic, but we also are here to answer your money questions. So if you know anybody that has, if you or you know anybody that has any money questions, feel free to ask them tonight. Put them in the comment, put them in the chat. Make sure you say hello, introduce yourself, let me know what your name is and where you're hailing from, and we'll get right to it, y'all. So I saw something not too long ago as I was traveling doing my cyber space travels. And it got me thinking about this book, the Millionaire Next Door. Again, great book, right? And the book, if I were to sum it up, and we'll go through it a little bit deeper as we get into this, but if I were to sum it up, I would say that it really really shows that what people think is really rich isn't rich. And a lot of times, millionaires, real millionaires, just regular millionaires, not those who were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, but average, hardworking people are pretty normal. They just happen to have good habits, and they happen not to be extravagant. But like I said, we'll get into that in a second. But I want to show this clip real quick. Make sure to jump in the comments, see a couple people start to come in. Let me know you're here. Let me know your name. Let me know where you're hailing from. But let's check out this clip, y'all. Oh, and I'm definitely going to get in trouble for the copyright.
This is for the sensible family. Smart family.
Now, y'all hear the sister in the background, right? Y'all hear the queen making her commentary in the back. So y'all know this is a totally black family.
This for the building black wealth family.
This is for the building black wealth family.
This is for the sensible family. Smart family.
So I want to read the caption. All right, people with household income of more than $250,000, 60% of them don't drive luxury brands. They drive Toyotas, Fords, and Hondas. I would agree with that. All the billionaires that I know and have encountered, only a couple of them have luxury brands. Few of them have Cadillacs, few have BMWs, and a few have Mercedes. But they can drive anything they want. They choose not to. But this made me think again about the Millionaire Next Door. Because again, when you see everybody talking about their G-Wagons, you see everybody talking about their 6,000 pound vehicles where folks are telling them to write it off with no context whatsoever. The terrible tax advice of those who are pretending to be tax advisors online. It's very, very interesting that indeed a lot of them are not driving any of that stuff. Why? Because they know it's a bunch of nonsense. It's a bunch of caca. But listen, if you don't know me because I didn't introduce myself properly and you're brand new to this channel, my name is Camari Ellis. I'm the Finance Rebel. You are watching the Finance Rebel Show. And the Finance Rebel Show is all about making wealth black again. So every week or several times a week, I get on here and we talk about money and wealth and economics, right? Anything that has to do with money or money as topics, we talk about them. And tonight, I wanted to talk about the Millionaire Next Door. So welcome, everybody. I see there's a couple of comments in the chat there. But I wanted to talk about this guy because that gentleman, and clearly he had a sister or wife or a spouse, whatever it is. He's a doctor. He's an anesthesiologist. Clearly, he makes enough money to drive any kind of foreign. As you saw, he had a Mercedes-Benz. Now, I saw this clip a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of forgot it. And then somebody sent it to me again. And I was like, thank you. Very grateful that they resent it to me because I kind of forgot about it. You know, you get hit, smack, deluged with so many things that, sometimes it's a little hard for me to keep up with. And if I don't put it into my second brain, my filing cabinet, my digital filing cabinet, a lot of times I don't get back to the things. So I'm glad it came up because, again, I thought this was really interesting. What do y'all think? But let's run this back. I traded my Mercedes for a Honda, right? People with a household income of more than $250,000, $250,000, 61% don't drive luxury brands. They drive Toyotas, Fords, and Hondas. Can we give it up to them for understanding the assignment? See, a lot of people don't understand the assignment. A lot of people just think that you make a lot of money and you spend a lot of money. Well, the real assignment when you're Black, can't really speak to everybody else. The real assignment is how do you accumulate these assets and how to get money to work for you, not you work for money. But a lot of people miss that out. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say it's super easy. I'm actually working towards that myself. But I understand the assignment. That is the goal. I want money to work for me. That's why I'm always talking about investing, saving, investing, rent, wash, repeat, and do it some more. But again, I think that's imperative.
This for the Building Black Wealth family.
I'm not going to lie. I love how she says this is for building the Black Wealth family. I think that's super dope. Super duper dope. So, all right, let's chime in with some folks. I see, oh, wow. I see we got some comments in here. This is interesting. Now, make sure y'all follow the Finance Rebel channel on YouTube. As many of y'all might have seen on my socials, I have a big goal for December 31st of this year. My YouTube channel is at about 7,300 subscribers. My goal is to get to 10,000 subs. Now, let's be clear. I am thankful for every last one of y'all who are here and show up every week if I'm early or if I'm late. So give it up to y'all. But I want to be able to help more people. But look at this comment. Hey, Felicia McCoy says, I did the same. So she traded in a luxury vehicle and traded it in for a Hyundai. Is it Hyundai or Hyundai? All right. Big Jim Cruz, what's up, K-Pasa? Hola, how are you, sir? What are you up to? Don Johnson's in the building. Uh-oh, I forgot to give Felicia the horns. Gotta give Big Jim the horns. All right, Don Johnson definitely gets the horns. All's well, Don. Thanks for stopping through. All right, K. Dickey says, as a former Benz tech for 10 years, most people should trade in for a Toyota or Honda. Is having needless at flex. Whoa. So that's very acknowledged, K. Dickey, for being here. And that is a dope comment. Now, K. Dickey, why do you say that, though? Are we talking about the maintenance for a Mercedes-Benz, a German car, who's known to have a lot of maintenance issues as they get older. Is that what you're referring to? All right, so Felicia says, every day I see people struggling for making 40K per year driving your Benz. Yeah, I've seen it. Don Johnson says, everything's all relative. Buffett drives old Lincoln. I think Buffett has a Cadillac, but same thing. Everything's all relative. Buffett drives old Lincoln, but also has a private jet. Bezos drives a Honda, but has a $4 million yacht. Now, Don, I should have thought about this, because there is an old video of Bezos being interviewed, and he had like an old Honda Accord, and he did not have the yacht at that time, and he did not have billionaire status at that time. And so there's nothing wrong with having anything luxury, right, when we get down to it. The question is, can you afford it? Right? Can you afford it? Do you understand the cost of it, and do you understand the price of it? Because cost and price are not the same thing. The price, when you go buy that Benz or whatever vehicle, Lincoln, Cadillac, whatever, none of them are paying advertising. That is the sticker price. Let's say it's $50,000, just round it up. That's the price. The cost is, how do you maintain that car? If you got a note, if you didn't have 50 grand in smackdown on that car, right then and there, more than likely you finance. Most people finance cars. So the cost of the car note, the cost of the car insurance. You need car insurance, right? Most times it's a legal requirement. So you need to pay the payment, you need the car insurance. What's the maintenance on that vehicle? How much do the tires cost? One of the things my father always said to me is like, I don't understand why people get these big SUVs and they can't afford to change the tires. You knew how much the tires were when you bought the car. Or if you didn't, you should have researched it. And if you didn't research it, you're stupid. You're a fool. If anybody knows my dad, he's very curt. That's one of them old school words, right? Curt. He's a curt gentleman. Right? He would say you should understand what the costs are. What's the cost for brakes? How much does it cost to fill up the gas tank in normal times? And guess what? We are known for having oil spikes. So oil spikes usually bring what? Gasoline spikes. So if you have oil spikes and gasoline spikes and you got a big gas guzzler, what do you think normally is going to happen? Well, your fuel rate is going to fluctuate. It's going to go up. The question is, will you be able to survive when it goes up? I never forget when gas or oil spiked in 2007, I want to say it was. It went to $150 a gallon, a barrel, $150 a barrel, oil. And then gas was like $4 something, almost $5 a gallon. I lived in Delaware at the time. I almost died just filling up the tank. I could only afford to put like $5 at a time in the account and the gas tank. Why? Because gasoline had went up so high, and I was doing a lot of miles on the road. So you have to really think about those things. Okay. All right, we got some more in here. Aaron approves loans. Welcome, sir. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for chiming in. So Aaron says, K Diggy, I had a Benz tech talking to me about MLS. He swears by them. I'm guessing MLS is a brand or model of Mercedes. He swears by them, specifically 2010 to 2012. Any thoughts? We can talk offline. Great live. Thank you, sir. What kind of loans do you get approved, Aaron? Throw it in the chat. So, you got to think about the cost. It's not just the sticker price. Just like when you're buying a home. Can you afford that home? I see people time and time again buy the big McMansion. Never think about what it costs to heat that place, what it costs to light that place, what it costs for maintenance around there. Grass. I'm looking at my grass right now. I got some crazy leafy thing growing in my backyard. And me and my kids handle the maintenance around the house now in terms of grass and shrubbery. Right? If I had to pay somebody to come do that, that's extra cost. Some people who's I have some friends and some clients who have nice sized pieces of land. And they don't have the time to cut it all themselves. They have to pay somebody to cut it. Some of them thought they could just do it all themselves all the time. Things changed. They got a little bit older, got a little slower, a little older, hadn't factored in that added cost. And you got to, depending on the rain cycle, how hot it is, how humid it is, will factor in how fast or how slow the grass grows. Well, that's something you got to think about, right? So again, I wanted to talk about The Millionaire Next Door. Great book, and just some of the habits, right? So I'm just going to kind of summarize it. And again, if anybody has any questions, every Wednesday we answer your money questions. So any questions you might have, stocks, taxes, I'm a tax accountant, former financial advisor, former portfolio manager on Wall Street, all the nine, or the whole nine. Any questions you have, 9 times out of 10, I can answer them for you. And if I can't answer them for you, I can point you in the right direction. All right. So make sure you like this out. If you enjoy this content, like it out, share it out, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel because we're on a march to 10,000 subscribers by December 31st. So help me help you. All right. Appreciate that. All right. So hold on. Let me go back. So Aaron is a residential mortgage broker or lender. Been originating for 20 years. Great business. So he was in the fire, y'all, 20 years ago, 2006, 2007, 2008. The whole real estate industry was in shambles. So I don't know Aaron, but just by saying that, he stayed the course. That man has some staying power. All right, so residential mortgages been originating for 20 years, great business, and we need to own more homes where our babies go to school, decent cars, great real estate, great schools will change our group. Yes, to a certain degree, yes, I agree with that. So I'll say this on the premise, on the surface, I will agree with that. I will definitely agree with that on the surface, yes. All right, K. Diggy says Mercedes just have random things that will go wrong. Ain't that every car? You leave for work and your audio stops working. I have a Nissan. I feel like that happens to me too. And audio will stop working, or your nav is stuck. Your top opens but doesn't close. Yeah, those are rich people problems right there. All right, XOK. XOK is a technology ETF or individual tech stocks. I had luck with both. Well, I'll come back and we can get to it deeper. You had luck with both because XOK holds a lot of the biggest and most popular tech stocks. And tech has been roaring, right? Tech has been doing its thing for a while. Now, so I started that. I will definitely come back to that. We'll get deeper into that as well. Now, I'm going to say this since it's on the top of my mind. There were some people running around social talking about all you need to invest in is technology stocks and ETF. You need to have a well-balanced asset allocation. What is the asset allocation? It's your mixture or your portfolio mixture of stocks, bonds, cash, real estate, commodities, precious metals, things like that. So it's not just all stocks. It's definitely not all just tech stocks. You want to think about the asset and the characteristic of each asset. For example, real estate, when we're talking about investing in real estate, not residential real estate. Y'all know I don't really think of homes, your personal resident, as an investment. But when we're talking about just, what you're going to live off of in retirement, let's just go with your retirement portfolio. You need a good mix of stocks and bonds, cash, commodities, real estate, right? Other things. So just think about that, right? As you get older in time, let me think about how to break this down, right? So stocks tend to be more volatile than bonds. The safest thing you normally can have is cash. That's one of the reasons why I'm always harping on cash. Enough of us don't have enough cash, enough in savings. And again, the goal isn't just to have money in savings just for the sake of it. The goal is to, one, be able to survive any financial storm that you encounter, and to be able to take advantage of any opportunities that might come your way. You might just need some quick cash, right? You have a lot of people out here who have no financial training, education, and you'll hear them say cash is trash. Well, guess what? They're out of their mind. They have no idea what they're talking about. Anytime somebody runs into any kind of financial crisis, why? You got to ask yourself why. It's because they ain't got no money. They ain't got no cash. If you have cash, it makes things a lot simpler. So I know a lot of times people will try to talk about, well, you put your money in the bank and inflation is going to eat it up. While technically that is true, but most of us don't even need to worry about that. There's levels to this thing here. Just get into the habit of living below your means. Spend less than what you make. All right. So I just wanted to go over the Millionaire Next Door as well. Like I said, I wanted to go over that because I thought this video was so dope, and I want to show it again one more time, just in case for the new ones that got here.
This is for the sensible family, smart family. This is for the building black wealth family.
This is for the building black wealth family. So again, I thought that was really dope. And again, that brother is an anesthesiologist. So again, he was a professional. He done went to school, definitely built his career. He has a big following. I'm going to find his name real quick so everybody can look him up. He's got a dope following on social. And I thought that was a really powerful social. I'm really growing sour on social. Like, it drives me crazy. Again, as I started today, it's like, so everybody's balling on social media. Everybody's rich. That's what we're talking about. Well, the data definitely shows that everybody's not rich. The average household income, I believe, in 2021 was like $68,000 or $67,000 per household, right? When we get to black households, it was like 34-ish, 34,000 or 35,000-ish. I think I've even seen as high as 42,000-ish. That ain't a lot of money, y'all. And this isn't to belittle anybody, right? Or say that they're less than because they don't make a lot of money. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we have all these people that are saying that they're gurus and credit geniuses and wannabe tax geniuses out here just to sell you something. And that ain't the truth. That ain't the truth. And what they're representing is not truthful at all. And they're not transparent about it either. So that's the part that really gets me. I don't like lying, probably because of my dad. He always told me lying was bad. So lying and stealing, right? It just drives me crazy. So I guess maybe that's some child. They say your identity is formed in your childhood. So I guess there's some childhood stuff that I'm bringing to bear, right? But let's go over the Millionaire Next Door. Again, the Millionaire Next Door is a best-selling book by Thomas J. Stanley. Thomas J. Stanley. And there's also a co-author. I can't think of his name. I'll look it up before we get done. So I got 2 pieces of homework. Somebody help me out. I gotta find the brother. I gotta find his name. And you know what? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna find it right now, because if I don't find it, eyes will forget. So just bear with me 1 second, y'all. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and chime in the chat. Let me know your name. Let me know where you're hailing from. If you have a business, be sure to tell me about your business. Thank you, Aaron, for telling us that you are a mortgage broker. If y'all don't know, I am a lover of Black-owned businesses. Why? Because just like Aaron said, more home ownership makes things better for the Black community. More Black-owned business makes things better for the Black community as well. Why? Because the majority of employment typically comes via a Black-owned business. So it's not a racist thing. It is a self-preservation thing. All right, so this brother's name is Dr. Robert Singleton II, MD. He's an anesthesiology physician and a digital creator, right? So he gets busy. He's got about 500,000 followers on Instagram. So make sure y'all follow him. Make sure y'all follow him. It's always good to support Black excellence. And I see one of the things he's all about is reimagining better health. So, you know, that's definitely motivational to me. It's always good to see more of us in the medical professions, especially since we still, as a community, are suffering major health disparities. All right, so The Millionaire Next Door, best-selling book by Thomas Stanley and William Darko. All right, Darko, that's the name. All right, so this book explores, right, the habits and lifestyles of millionaires. A lot of them live next door to you and I. They're just not into flaunting their wealth, flaunting their money. Like, there's a lot of stereotypes out there about the rich and the wealthy. Some people believe that, I saw something today that God said all billionaires are evil. I would say that's not really true. I think it's really dangerous, right? I think the one thing is 2023. I think the one thing we all know at this point is lumping any group of people and saying that they're all evil or all bad is dangerous, right? Generalizations can be bad. Now, I could, from a historical standpoint, make that argument for some folks, but I won't, because I don't think it pushes anything. I don't think it makes anything better. But I don't think we should run away from the truth either. Right? I mean, because the more we are facing the truth and accepting of the truth, we can then change our truths and change our realities. But you got to know where you are, to know where to start, to know where to go to make things different. All right. So some of the concepts all summarized. All right. This is The Millionaire Next Door. The wealthy are often not who you expect them to be. Contrary to popular belief, the majority of millionaires are not flashy. They're not high-profile individuals living extravagant lifestyles. Instead, they tend to be ordinary, regular, smegular individuals, unassuming people. A lot of times, just good, hardworking folks that save $1 and invest $1. All right. They tend to live beneath their means. I talked about that earlier. All right, Jim, I see your question. I will definitely answer that. All right. So many of these folks who are millionaires next doors, they are good wealth accumulators, meaning that they know how to grow money. They know how to make money grow and expand, largely because they're not giving it away and making everybody else rich. They figured out how to start a business, how to invest, how to be smart with their investments, how to be smart with their businesses. I mean, think about it. Most of my audience is Black. Many of you probably met some millionaires. I know in Philadelphia, many of the bigger barbers back in the day were millionaires. Easily. Again, not driving a Benz, not driving a BMW. Some of them did. Some of them were a little flashy. A lot of them were not. And just think about all the good barbers do, and the hairstylist as well, right? Don't want to leave out the sisters. I don't want that smoke. But think about it. Black man goes into the barber, gets a cut, gets a shave, and many times lays down the troubles and lays down many of his burdens. And they have great conversations. And I know there's actually programs now to get more barbers involved with mental health, being like mental health specialists. I don't want to say psychologists and therapy. I don't know if it's going that route. However, it's definitely there to help people get through certain things. I've seen it firsthand. Shout out to my guy Taj Mahal. He's a barber here in Philadelphia. And he's also a big mentor for the youth, for Men of Courage. Does a lot. And he's big on mental health, real big on it. I'm sure there's other barbers who are big on it. I just heard a podcast talking about a gentleman who started a whole system of barbers who are kind of like mental health. I don't want to say therapists because that's not the right term, but they have some kind of expertise in training to help people diffuse conflict, get through certain things. And that's a great thing. That's a great thing. All right. But getting back to the summary. All right. So they understand accumulation of wealth. All right. So the author emphasizes that accumulating wealth is more about financial discipline and prudence than high incomes or inheritance. It's not about what you make. It's about what you keep. It's not about what you make. It's about what you keep. I'm going to get my Dr. Umar on. It's not about what you make. It's about what you keep. They highlight the importance of frugality, budgeting. Anybody got a budget? That nasty B word, right? They understand, excuse me, let me back up. The author emphasizes that accumulating wealth is more about financial discipline and prudence than high incomes or inheritance or hitting the lottery. Because I know everybody's hype about Powerball right now, right? Come on now. Who all played Powerball this week? Somebody played it. Somebody played Powerball this week. I ain't judging you. I ain't mad at you. I played with some of my friends too. It's all good. It's all good. They highlight the importance, again, of frugality, budgeting, and saving consistently over time. Have you ever heard somebody say, when I make more money, I'll start to save? And for some people, that is true. Some people really are living check to check, hand to mouth. However, there's a lot of us who are not. There's a lot of us who go play lottery that I just mentioned. I see people sometimes spend $20 a day on lottery and are broke and say they don't have enough money to save. That don't sound like broke to me. Don't look like broke to me either. Sounds like a misalignment of priorities. So that's just one thing. All right. They also understand the role of self-employment. The book suggests that a significant portion of millionaires are self-employed entrepreneurs or business owners. They have a strong work ethic and they're willing to take calculated risks to build their wealth. They understand the risks that it takes. Here's another thing, though, right, to add on to this. There are regular people who work 9 to 5s who become millionaires too, just by investing in their 401k. Excuse me, y'all, in their 401ks. So you don't have to always be an entrepreneur, a business owner, self-employed. You don't have to necessarily do those things. If you have a job and it's not toxic, right? It's okay to work a job. Nothing wrong with it at all. Actually, the stats say you'll make more money working a job than you will being self-employed. That's what the data says. Not me. I didn't make that up. All right. Prioritizing financial independence. It's another one. Again, prioritizing financial independence. The wealthy tend to prioritize financial independence over appearance of affluence. The wealthy tend to prioritize financial independence over the appearance of affluence. They focus on building assets and maintaining a low level of debt rather than spending excessively on luxury items. Now, if you pay attention to what's going on, especially on social, everybody's pitching credit card this, credit score that. But nobody's talking about maintaining and paying off debt. I mean, you got a couple, but it seems like the louder cry is coming from you can get $150,000 in business credit. Just get an LLC. They don't even know what the business is. You don't even got to have a business. So, all right, cool. You get that 100,000. How are you going to pay it off? Is your business strong enough to pay it off? Is it bringing enough revenue? Is it bringing in enough income? Because too much debt can be a death sentence. Because it's going to cut off the oxygen, which is your cash flow, because you're paying it out to some bank or some mortgage company. But again, that's not what we're here to do tonight. I'm not going to dog credit too much, but that was on my mind. Y'all know it's always on my mind. Wealthy habits. The author identifies several common habits among millionaires, including meticulous budgeting, extensive investment, and education, right? So not just taking some course for somebody who's promising to make you rich on something they just started doing last week, right? The Millionaire Next Door also summarizes that they also spend a lot of money in investment and personal development. So it's not just about business. They also understand that business and personal development go hand in hand. Because if you haven't started to build character, build discipline, your business is only going to go but so far. You got to develop other strengths, other characteristics, other habits to really take your business to the next level. That takes education. All right. So, again, the author identifies several common habits among millionaires, including meticulous budgeting, extensive investment in education and personal development, seeking out high value purchases, and maintaining a strong emphasis on family and community. Now, let's back up. Because I remember when I read this book many, many years ago, right? They talked about the rich or the wealthy or the millionaires next door would tend to buy things that were more expensive because they knew they would last versus buying something cheap. The price was low, right? Because they understand price versus cost. If you weren't here ago, if you're just not seeing this, you might want to rewatch this on a replay because we just talked about price versus cost. So these millionaires next door understand price versus cost and that there's a difference. And so they would rather spend a little bit more money and have something that lasts as opposed to paying for something that's cheap and you have to keep buying it over and over and over again. Because usually, guess what? There's an underlying cost to buying cheap things. You have to go buy it. You have to spend time. You might have to spend gas, right? Further wear and tear on your car. All of those things will be included in the overall cost of things. So if it's going to mess with your time because you got to go and reshop and buy the item. Now, again, we all have these fancy, smancy phones. You might be able to shop for it online. But again, that still takes time. Might be a millisecond or two. It still takes time. It still takes attention. That is added into the cost equation. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right. The importance of education. Education plays a vital role in wealth accumulation. I'll go further and say that it doesn't just play a vital role. I'll say wealth is the gateway. I'll say education is the gateway to wealth. Again, I'll say education is the gateway to wealth. If people can't read, write, and do arithmetic, writing, adding up with our fingers, how much wealth can they really accumulate if they can't write a letter, if they can't read a letter, if they can't count the change that they get when they get it back from a cashier? I know cash is kind of going out of style these days. Nobody's really using it. However, there are times where people get cheated. And that's just one instance. Understanding the time value of money is another big thing. Got to be able to count, at least on a basic level. It's really, really important. Really, really important. All right, so the importance of education. Again, education is the gateway to wealth. Education is the gateway to wealth. And it doesn't always have to look like formal education, right? It can be reading a book. It could be taking a course. It could be getting a certificate in a program and learning a thing. It doesn't always have to be a college degree. I would probably rank most of the stuff online as garbage. There are some exceptions, right? But I would say most of the stuff online is garbage. It's not education. It's a waste of time. Factor the cost and the price of that. All right. Now, here's another one. Passing on wealth. Passing on wealth. The book emphasized the importance of teaching financial responsibility and discipline to children. Again, I'm going to read that again. The book emphasizes the importance of teaching financial responsibility and discipline to children. It's very important. Why? Because you don't want your children to take over this wealth, because we all have an expiration date. And then they get this money and they just squander it. That's not what they want to happen at all. At all. All right. Millionaires tend to pass on their knowledge and values to their offsprings rather than leaving them vast sums of money. If you want an example of that, look at Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett said he's not leaving his children a whole lot of money. Now, they got some of it in their lifetime, but I doubt that they'll be billionaires. Now, will they be tens of millionaires? Maybe. Will they in a position to do that? Maybe. But they're not just going to give it away and make it super duper easy for them, right? So those are some of the big key points of the Millionaire Next Door, right? And again, in the Millionaire Next Door, again, when I watched that video, it triggered my mind back to the book, because they said a lot of them drive pickup trucks, Fords, because some of them might work in construction or scrap metal or something like that. There's not a lot of utility, right? Not a lot of usefulness and a luxury vehicle. Outside of it, looks pretty. Some of them really are beautiful, but can't really haul anything in the backseat of one of these luxury vehicles that has this fine plush leather. Doesn't work. You mess it up. You scar it up. You rip it up. Doesn't work. It winds up costing more money. There's not a whole lot of utility with it, right? So those are some of the things. Again, we'll definitely come back and recap all those as we get further along in this. But I know there are some questions. Listen, if anybody has any questions, feel free, throw them in the chat. I know we got a couple of them already. Do me a favor, be sure to go and subscribe to the Finance Rebel YouTube channel. And we are here every week, 8 p.m. I know I got started late tonight. Clients come first. You know, I do this thing for free. It's a labor of love for me. So sometimes my timing gets a little screwed up because I got to help my folks. All right, so I see I got at least 2 questions there. All right. All right, so Aaron, I believe he was responding to my statement. So Aaron Approves Loan says it's not, but most of us need to own a residence even. Okay, I think he was responding to what I said. I don't believe that your residence is an asset. So he said it's not, but most of us need to own a residence, even small, for a reason other than financial. I would agree with that, right? Because buying a home is bigger than the money, right? Buying a home is where you are going to put down roots, raise a family, be a part of a community. Those things oftentimes are way bigger than money. Most times are way bigger than money. All right, so what else did Aaron say? Okay, other than financial, many Black families who someone owned a home that was a haven way after the owner left the planet. I agree with that. It's funny. I was listening to a podcast. My brother Jimmy Williams over By the Hood was on because Jimmy's like he's actually a real estate expert. A lot of people know him for his Bitcoin and digital currency experience, but Jimmy is a bona fide expert in real estate. He does like a lot of assessments. People fly him out to do presentations. He's about that life. But I heard him say something. He talked about the stability of a neighborhood is tied to the level of ownership. So the higher the level of home ownership in any neighborhood will usually correlate and lead to better stability in that community for a longer period of time. So that goes to what Aaron's saying. So again, I'm not disagreeing. I agree. But you know, I do think, and studies have shown that many times Black families over-index on their home residence and forget about buying things like real estate or getting into business, or excuse me, not buying real estate, investing in a real estate, right, as an asset, rental property, or flipping, whatever way you want to go, or in the stock market, right? Because you could also buy real estate through the stock market through REITs, REITs, real estate investment trust. So, but you know, depending upon the vantage point you're coming from, I get it. All right, so Big Jim Cruz says, is it a good idea to make your side hustle a business? It can be. I know a lot of people who've had side hustles that became full-time jobs / full-time businesses. So it all depends. What kind of side hustle do you have, Jim? Question is, does it generate enough money to replace your income? Because Jim, I believe are you still in IT? Many years ago, y'all, I used to be a tech guy. many years ago. Throw that in there, Jim, and let me know if I get to some of these other comments. All right, facts. My best stock was MRL. Okay. Over the last years, Marathon Oil has been good to me. Yeah, because oil's been going up. Still Rocks is in the building. What up? Okay, I got to that one already. All right, Still Rock says, somebody else said something else. All right. Still Rock says, wife and I went to dealer just a little couple weeks ago, she wanted to drive off in that new Honda Pilot. Listen, those Honda Pilots are a hot commodity. I was able to talk her out of it finally. Had to explain lifestyle creep. That's right. That's right. Sounds like somebody got a raise or a bonus. That usually happens a lot of times. What is lifestyle creep? Lifestyle creep is the more money you make, the more money people tend to spend. A lot of people get a raise every year. So when they get a raise every year, instead of keeping their lifestyle the same, they say, you know what? Well, we can go out to dinner a little bit more. We can spend a little bit more on that new car. I can get a new fancy suit. I've always wanted a pair of J's and I've never had them. So I'm going to go buy me a pair of J's. I'm talking about myself now. I've never owned a pair of Jordans, y'all. And I was thinking about buying a pair this year. But the price, oh God, the price is through the roof and I can't justify it a lot of times. But yes, that's lifestyle creep. And again, I don't think you have to starve yourself or deprive yourself of anything. You just have to figure out what you want to do, because money with no master is a tyrant, because it'll do what it wants to do and never come back and help those who help make that money. So keep that in mind, y'all. Keep that in mind. All right, Maddox is in the building. And he says he's got a budget. Salutes to you. That's dope. The good doctor says, I need you to understand, and overstand. I like that. Understand, and overstand. Understand, and overstand. I like that. I like that a lot. No. All right. Aaron says, come on, finance rebel. Let them run the play. Yeah. Listen, anybody said, listen, I hate that term. I hate that it's become commonplace right now, right? So let me finish reading the comment. Aaron says, come on, finance rebel. Let them run the play. LLC plus business credit equals 80 million in real estate and no problems. SMH. Sadly, the one thing in life we know is constant is problems. And more money's more problems, like Biggie said. Biggie taught us that, right? So you have to keep that in mind. I just saw something in the, what was it, the Daily Post, I believe it was. EBB loans. Ooh, that's rough. Hold on 1 second. I saw something I want to share with y'all. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. 1 second. I shared it on my Instagram. Give me 1 second, y'all. How about I just do this? I know I had it. But now I can't find it. Where is it? Here we go. There it is. PPP fraud is worst in history. 200 billion stolen and blown on Lamborghinis, beach houses, and bling. How about that? Let me share that real quick, y'all. Let me share that. I think it's kind of misleading. And I think it's misleading a little bit. JT Coins, thank you, sir. I think it's misleading a little bit. A lot of it, actually. I can't get this to blow up, but I believe y'all can see that on the screen, right? So I'm not making that up. PPP fraud is worse than history. 200 billion stolen and blown on Lamborghinis, beach houses, and bling. Now, I've done a fair amount of covering these PPP scams and the whole nine. Benny, y'all have been here when we talked about them. It seemed like everybody liked the blue Lamborghinis. I don't know why blue was such in high demand for Lamborghinis, but a lot of people were enjoying those. They were digging them. I don't know why though, but that's what they were getting. And then the bling. Bling is a hip hop term, right? Yeah, it's kind of going mainstream, but I feel like that was a bit of a shot. And the Post they like to say certain things. But JT Coins in the building. JT, when we get together, brother. All right, thank you for the super chat. $1.99, I appreciate it. Definitely will go to my daughter's college tuition fund. All right. So thank you. Thank you again. Appreciate you. So I thought that was a little bit of a shock for the Post to do that. But we're used to it, right? Everybody loves to talk smack about the Black community until it's time to rip off their patents and their IP and all their genius. So let's see. I'm trying to find an article. Oh, wow. The biggest fraud in generation, the looting of COVID. Yeah. I agree. But I don't think it's the people that they say it is. It's not the people buying bling and Lamborghinis. What about all these billion-dollar organizations that got PPP? And many of them got it forgiven. But nobody wants to talk about that. What's up, Lewis? Thank you, sir. Shout out to Lewis. Lewis is always sharing my stuff. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, so here is an article. Any other questions? And I didn't forget about that XLK comment. We'll get to that in a second. I want to pull this up real quick. Thought this was interesting. Thought this was real interesting. Fraudsters may have stolen $200 billion in federal COVID relief funds, the report says. Now, this was released. This was a news article on NBC, June 27th, 2023. That was last month. 200 billion. More than 200 billion in COVID relief loans and grants were distributed to potentially fraudulent actors. Nearly 1/5 of all Small Business Administration funds dispersed in the U.S., according to a new estimate by the Inspector General for the SBA. That's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money. I can't tell you how many people I had to fight with to get them to apply for a PPP. Many people were scared. And it's funny, now you see people going to jail, like people says, I knew it was a trick. That's why I didn't take it. I knew it was a trick. Well, it wasn't that it was a trick. It was that people lied to get those funds. Like there's a lot of, like when people are talking about running the play, as Aaron talked about, running the play and doing certain things to get increased credit limits, it's kind of implied that they're going to say something that might not be totally legal. And I think y'all know my position on that, right? We're Black, right? I don't think any of us have any delusions. We tend to be sent to jail more times than non-melanated folks. Those aren't the games we need to play at all. At all. So it always kills when people say, well, we can't do that. We know better. We can't do that kind of stuff. If it was a white guy, he wouldn't get sentenced the same way. But it's not a white guy, and we already know what it is. So why even go down that pike? Why even go down that route? Rather, but I get it. I get it. All right, so let's get to this XLK. So XLK is an ETF manufactured by State Street. Actually, State Street built the very first ETF, which is SPY. So let me share this with you real quick so I can put this up on the screen and put it out there for everybody to see. XLK, ticker symbol XLK. By the way, this is not an investment recommendation. Before anybody goes right and looks at any of these things, please consult an investment advisor. Past performer is not an indication of future results. All right. So just because an investment did really, really good in the past does not mean it will continue to do better or do good going forward. I don't want to hear anything else say, Camari told me to buy this. No, he didn't. That's the part that you heard. I ain't say that. All right, so let's get to this XLK, y'all. XLK trading at 179.81 today. All right, it gives a distribution quarterly. So it does a dividend quarterly. It has 65 holdings. So this is an ETF. Think of an ETF as a basket or a bucket of investments. So there's approximately 65 holdings in there. What are some of the things that they own? Let me blow this up. Microsoft being one of them, but let me blow this up a little bit bigger. Can y'all see that? Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can see this. Let me know that y'all can see this. Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia. Oh, those are all popular. Broadcom, Adobe, Salesforce, Cisco, Accenture, Advanced Micro Designs, Oracle. Has anybody heard of those stocks before? So in this ETF, they own stocks. They own stocks that are in the technology sector. So they do something along the lines of technological. So that's when you have ETFs, many of them will divide themselves up, right? By sector, by industry, by region, by country. You have ETFs that only invest in France or only invest in, let's say, South Africa or China or Japan or Thailand, right? You have some ETFs that all they buy is bonds, whether it could be mortgage bonds, it could be government bonds, it could be domestic bonds, it could be overseas bonds. You also have, some ETFs. One of my favorite ETFs buys preferred stock in banks. I'm not telling you what it is. You probably heard it before. You got to come back and listen again because I don't want nobody saying I gave them an investment recommendation. But ETFs are a great way to invest. When I was institutional money manager or portfolio manager, I used to manage ETFs. If you Google my name, and I don't say that with any arrogance, you'll see me with write-ups about ETFs. Matter of fact, one of the first write-ups I did almost cost me my job as a financial advisor. And I was writing about Africa ETFs. So, Thunder's in the building. Welcome. All right, so that was just one, right? That was one list, one of the top. That was about 10 that I went through. All right, let's go to the next page. All right, so let me pull this back up on the screen for y'all. All right, so these are some other ones that are held by XLK. By the way, there are other tech ETFs, there are other financial ETFs, there are other real estate ETFs. Right there, there's a myriad of them. All right, so Texas Instruments is another holding in XLK. Intel, Intuit, Qualcomm, International Business Machines. If anybody knows that, that is IBM, ServiceNow, Applied Materials, Analog Devices, Lam Research, Palo Alto Networks. So these are all, those are all individual stocks that are owned by this ETF. So when you buy the ETF, you're buying a basket of stocks. So it just makes the investment process a lot easier. All right, Micron Technologies, Synopsys, Cadence Design Systems, KLA Corporation, NXP Semiconductors, Roper Technologies, Fortinet, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Amphenol, Microchip, and Motorola. I'm pretty sure y'all have heard some of these companies before, some of the names of these companies before. So let's see. Aaron was asking me, what did I think about them? Let me get the question again. All right, XOK or individual tech stocks. I had luck with both. So I like both. It just depends on what you're trying to do. If you want to be a lazy investor, and that's not this, I consider myself a lazy investor, you can buy ETFs. Right? For example, let's say you're like, all right, technology's here. Microsoft is buying Activision. Right? That merger just got approved. How many billions of dollars? We keep seeing technological advancements, AI, robotics, things like that keep coming on, keep selling, people keep buying. All right, so tech is probably going to be good. Right? So you can just buy the technology ETF. However, you could also look at other things. You might say, well, interest rates are starting to go up. Well, banking might be a good place to be. Right? Insurance, there are insurance ETFs. You might say, well, people are paying more in insurance premiums, whatever it's property, casualty, life, disability, depending on the type of insurance, you might want to get into that ETF because it covers that sector. So, you could go at it a myriad of different ways. Now, when you look at tech is leading the field. So one of the biggest ETFs is SPY, again made from Spiders, which is the company we were just looking at. XOK make Spiders. But anybody wonder what the holdings are of some of these bigger tech companies? So I'm gonna pull up SPY. See, let me find this here. So let me pull this up. So SPY. So this is the breakdown of SPY. You have the communication sector. You have consumer discretionary. You have consumer staples. You have the energy sector. You have the financial sectors. You have healthcare. You have industrials. You have materials. You have real estate. You have technology and utilities. All right. So you can build your whole portfolio around this if you wanted to. You might say, you know what? Energy, which I'm sure most of energy is going to be oil companies. We're not going to stop using and buying oil. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. Even though we have Tesla with green vehicles or electric vehicles, we have Ford making more electric vehicles. The infrastructure for electric isn't totally there yet, right? So It's hard for somebody to drive from Philadelphia to Los Angeles on an electric vehicle and stop and get the charge. They don't have the infrastructure yet for that. However, it's coming. It's coming. But you can say, you know what? I want to. I think energy is going to be here for a long time. And if you've been following me, I'll share with y'all my Cash App portfolio. And y'all know I was buying energy ETFs. Matter of fact, that same ETF, again, this is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but I was buying this ETF that was in there. Matter of fact, I won't even highlight it because I don't want nobody saying you told me to buy it. Right. But then there's financials. So if you think banks and everything else is going to do better, industrials, does anybody know what an industrial company or the industrial sector is made up of? What about materials? You know what kind of companies those are in those sectors? I'm sure everybody knows what real estate is, right? Or everybody can at least think of what real estate is. So that is the ticker XLRE. It's an ETF. Right, let's look at the holdings. Prologis is one. American Tower is another holding. Right, Crown Castle, Equinix, Public Storage. Anybody heard of Public Storage? Anybody heard of Public Storage? I have a feeling everybody in there has heard of Public Storage, right? So if you said, you know what, I want to invest in real estate and I don't necessarily need a whole lot of money. I don't have a whole lot of money, but I want to start investing in real estate because I believe it's still going to do good over time. Well, guess what? This ETF closed at $38.14. Anybody got $38? You can buy one share of that. And if you don't have $38, I've told you all before that if you got $1, you can buy a fraction of that and you can begin your investment journey. So again, not going too far off the rails. Just going back to what I was talking about. I was talking about how tech is basically dominating stock right now. When you look at Apple, when you look at Microsoft, they are making up a large amount of every portion or facet of investing right now. It's driving the market. It's very much driving the market. And I was talking about SPY. SPY is the biggest ETF or that has the most amount of assets. It's the ETF the most amount of people have their money in. And when you look at it, let me find it. When you look at it, it's like, wow, a lot of this money is concentrated in a couple of big companies. I'm sure every night people hear the Dow Jones did this, Dow Jones did that. A lot of times it's a few companies that's driving a lot of this and people don't even realize it. Don't even realize it. So let me pull this up. Pull this back up. So this is all the holdings for SPY. What do you mean by no data? No data. No data. What do you mean? Let's see. One of the things when you're going to buy an ETF or mutual fund, because ETFs and mutual funds are like cousins, there's usually what's called a prospectus in there, and it will tell you everything about. It'll tell you everything about that investment in that fund. All right, so I can't. That's weird. I can't find the holdings there. They should be there. I can find the holdings. Look, give me 1 second. I'm though. All right, here we go. I got it. I got it. Right here. See, no, that's not gonna work. See if I can blow that up a little bit more. All right, so the top 10 holdings in SPY again, which is the biggest ETF holding. It's got billions and billions and billions of dollars in it. Apple is one of the biggest holdings in SPY. Microsoft. Oh, now if you're bored and you need something to do and you want to investigate stocks, look at how often the price of Apple goes up in price. Look at how often Microsoft goes up in price. And then look to see when they both go up in price for the same days, same weeks, same months. And then do the reverse and see how often they go down at the same time together. You will see what's called a correlation in price movement for those stocks. They move almost together. And what causes a stock to go up or down? And does anybody know that? Does anybody know the reason why a stock price goes up or down? Go ahead and throw that in the chat. Stock price up or down, what's driving it? All right, so we have Apple, we have Microsoft, we have Amazon, we have Nvidia, we have Alphabet, aka Google, we have Tesla, we have Meta, aka Facebook, and then we have Alphabet Class C, which is a different class of stock for Google, but it's called Alphabet now. Then you have Berkshire Hathaway, Class B, again, a different class of stock. Stocks have different classes, just like the classes in your room and your school, right? A lot of times they get treated differently, depending upon who the teacher is, depending upon what the class is focused on. Sometimes they have gifted classes where the class is only for gifted students. So when you look at these A, B, and C type class stocks, typically, not always, but typically, Class A gets treated like the gifted kids. They're special. They are special. So everything is not equal there. But again, just going back to the point of answering Aaron's question, technology is definitely running the day. When you look at it, everybody uses it, even though Amazon technically isn't a technology company, kind of, because they are some of the biggest cloud players out here. But Amazon will be affected by technology. The movements, the developments, the advancements of technology will impact Amazon. Same thing for Nvidia, right? All of it's going to be impacted by technology. So again, going back to your question, is XOK good? Is technology stocks good? They're going to have their ups and downs. But I do believe over the long haul, they are going to do better than most. They're going to do better than most. The question is, when will you need the money? Is it for retirement? Is it for college? Is it for some kind of short-term investment, like maybe a home or buying a car or whatever? It could be anything, right? The question is going to be, when do you need the money? That's the biggest factor in investing, when the monies are needed. So keep that in mind. But to answer your question, I do think technology is going to go a long way. Skynet's here. Skynet is here. I don't think there's any denying that, right? I don't think there's any denying that. I don't know where John and Sarah Connor are, but Skynet's here. They're definitely here. So, I would say technology is not going anywhere. No time soon. So, but I also don't think you should put all your eggs in one basket into technology either. So there's a lot of other things that are going to make money and make moves in the stock market. Energy, right? Certain automobiles will do well. People still need clothing. So some of those sectors will do well also. So just keep that in mind. All right. So if anybody has any other questions, feel free to throw them in. If not, I'm going to boogie and get out of here. But just one more time.
Okay. This is for the sensible family. Smart family. This for the building black wealth family.
So I already know I'm going to probably get copyright strikes for whoever was singing that song. YouTube doesn't like when you play music from other folks when you don't have permission. And I'm sure that's going to bring up an issue. So again, I'm Camari Ellis. Thank you for watching the Financial Rebel Show. We're here every Wednesday, 8-ish. Look out for the alert. I'm trying to do them a little bit earlier going forward. If there's anything you want me to cover, let me know and just shoot me a text, right? And if you are not in the text community, you should be. All right, so make sure you join the text community. It's 215-974-0058. Again, 215-974-0058. All right, so I appreciate you all. Don't forget, we are marching towards 10,000 subs on the YouTube channel by December 31st of this year. Let's get that done, y'all. Help me get that done. All right, more subs. So don't forget, if you enjoy this content, like it on YouTube, share the YouTube video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel overall. Okay, so again, appreciate you all. Appreciate you all. And I will see you soon. Y'all have a great night. Bye-bye.